Do you think they were listening, or is it
I don't know, but there's we were me and my buddy were like,
wait, where? So I was half listening, dude. And now I'm full listening.
okay,
What the fuck?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the podcast, a show dedicated to talking about all the poggers things in life, like music, content creation, video games, with a heavy focus on the first-person shooter Escape from Tarkov. I'm Jessekazam, one of your co-hosts, a Tarkov YouTuber, streamer, content creator.
And I'm Veritas, and I have a secret. Do you want to know what it was?
Yes.
I'll tell you what it was.
Is it your streamer item? The real one, not the fake one? Because I still want to know.
All right, I'll tell you what it was.
Someone's gonna know what. Someone's gonna get the reference there.
I'm sure. I figured there was.
I know how to count all the way to 55.
Oh,
come on, you.
My friend little girl showed me that video one time, and it was hilarious. 55.
Yeah. Well, so what I will say, I promised Chad I would reveal not what my streamer item is that's coming out in 12.8, but the thing that I wanted it to be.
That Nikita shut
that
you
I
down.
requested that after like a couple of months. This was a couple months ago. After a couple of months, I was like, "So any news on the thing?" And he's like, "Yeah, we can't do that." So then
I'm so interested.
We ended up with number 2, but number 1, this is not what my streamer item is going to be. I wanted a guitar case that was like the size of a weapon case, but was essentially like a mini scav junk box.
Ooh.
So you could, I mean, because a guitar case is the same. I literally have a gun case right next to a guitar case. They're the same size. It wouldn't make sense to put guns in it. It would just make sense to put junk in it. So that's what
That would have been epic too, because that would have been one everybody would have had for sure. Everyone would use that.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's not what it is.
Did he say why? Is it like too functional? Like
I have no idea.
Like it was
probably
too good of an item to give as a streamer item.
We could not fit guitar case in scanners. I'm picturing like a fucking Xerox, and it's like, nope, cannot,
dude,
does not fit.
The old school transparency projectors, and they're like running a guitar case over it.
The cable doesn't. Cable not reach. Sorry.
Can't do. Oh man, that would have been great.
Yeah,
that would have been great.
So there's that, and then I might as well just bust out the second piece of very news real quick, in that the flea market price checking feature should be probably likely to be downloaded in beta like tomorrow, and then probably released like the next day. So it's going to be a couple of days, but it's almost done. Morphe let me know. So he's been,
which is awesome,
working tirelessly. The poor guy. I mean, it's like it's literally a thankless fucking thing. But he just came out of nowhere and was like, "Yo, I'll make it. You need help?" Yeah,
dude.
So
it's awesome. I've used it quite a bit, and just the app in general. Just as a little plug, this is a question because I had a cool experience. Where do you get the information for like the ammo, like the pen values and stuff like that? And I asked because it was my first raid into 12.7. I was playing with Geeksa and we were running around, and somebody brought up the like new ammo, and I was like, I forgot about the 366 ammo, and I just like crouched in a bush and I pulled it up, and he was like, he was like, nobody knows the values yet, and I was like, no, yeah, it's 42 pen and 90 damage, and he was like, how do you know? I was like, dude, the app updates. I was like, I don't know where it comes from, but it's there. So I was interested, like, how do you get that information so fast?
So I'm my back end is connected to the hip bone. So there's an API called Tarkov database. There's links and stuff in the app. If you actually go to the app, you can go to the about section. If you go to the more section and then go to the attributions, so Tarkov database. Morphe 2K is one of the guys that also works on the wiki.
That makes sense.
So he updates the information however he updates the information. And my back end has a script that runs every hour and basically just says, hey, is there anything new after this date? Is there anything new after this date? And then I just download whatever is new. So I'm only making 24 requests a day to his server, which is like not a lot of traffic. And then I download and cache everything on my end, and then I handle all my traffic between my clients and my servers.
Interesting.
So yeah, the only thing I needed to do, so that's all automatic.
Yeah.
There's a few things that I need to do manually. Like the new ammo, the grenade launcher ammo, what is it, like 40 mil?
Yeah.
4.6 or whatever the fuck it is. I had to go in and just into the server configuration that I have an object that basically all it does is it's a mapping of the caliber string to the way that I want it to be displayed in the app, because sometimes it's really long and awkward and like 7.62 by 54R Russian blah 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 Spencer, like you don't need any of that shit. You just want to see like 7.62 by 54, 7.62 by 39, 5.45 by. So I have a mapping. So anytime a new caliber is added, I just have to add a new thing that says 4.6 by whatever millimeter equals 4.6 by whatever millimeter, and then all of a sudden you wait 30 seconds, you open up the app, and it'll have the new information.
Gotcha.
So I don't have to do. I haven't done an app update in like 6 months. I haven't needed to. It's only if I need to add features or if there's like a new item type. I probably need to make a bunch of changes when they come out with a modular armor plate stuff, because that's going to be just everything's different now. So
I can imagine the amount of like testing that'll be done in the app, because right now you have the combat simulator, the pen chance, and all that stuff, and that's going to make that infinitely more complicated and situational when there's armor plates and all sorts of stuff.
I mean, the hard part is, so the engine is built and that should all work. As long as they don't like change formulas and stuff, like it should, which I doubt that they're going to do. It's probably just going to use the new system, but it's just going to have like, there's going to be different zones of your body. And so I'll have to update the UI to reflect certain things. But when I first built it, I built it when you armored chest rig and armor on. So it already handles multiple layers of armor.
Okay. Gotcha.
I mean, and from like a coding perspective, it's not any more complicated, because hitting one level of armor and then hitting your body, just do the hit one level of armor thing.
Yeah.
And then do it again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just the same task, but now you just have it's a different input.
Yeah.
Because now the bullet is a little bit shittier than it was before.
Yeah. And then hit this
but
armor.
It's no different, So it's really extensible.
I'm super interested if it, like, when they add that whole thing, if it'll be like, I feel like it'll either be really fun, like diving into, like, we've talked about this before in like RPGs and MMOs, like finding the best in slot. Okay, you want a class 6 here, you want this here, because if not, it's too heavy. Like, it'll be fun finding builds, or it'll just be like actually just class 6 everywhere and then just use a stem. And it'll be interesting to see if it's like I feel like it'll be one or the other. I hope it's fun, like finding different loadouts and stuff. But the app will be cool for that, to run combat simulations and stuff like that with different things, if it's even a factor, which we'll see if it is.
I think it's going to be counterintuitive. The difference, it's not going to be what people expect, or at least that's I expect it to be different than what people expect, because it's similar to the counterintuitive nature of sometimes, in some cases, having armor that just covers your thorax, you can survive more bullets
100%,
than if you had one that was thorax and stomach and arms.
Yeah.
So the fact that the armor is actually, technically, it's just shrinking, right? It's like, it's the same conceptually when you go from a Gen 4 full to a Gen 4 high mobility.
Yeah.
All you're doing is essentially like removing zones.
Yes.
You're kind of just going to be doing the same thing, whereas now it's just going to be less of your thorax.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There are going to be cases where you might actually end up surving more bullets with less armor coverage.
Sure. But it will be interesting to like time to kill probably won't be that much different, but maybe like how often you get blacked out limbs. You know what I mean? Because like I normally choose just thorax. I like Tactex a lot. I like, Slicks a lot. You know what I mean? Or something like that. I like the class 4 USEC armors because they have such high durability. it'll be interesting to be able to have that, and then maybe class 2 on your arms and 2 on your stomach, and you'll see way less like scav one tapped.
A scav tossing both of your arms
100 simultaneously, where you have like that blows my mind. Where I have 0 damage done to my stomach through my thorax, 0. My armor is still in 100% durability, and both of my arms are blacked out with 1 shot, and I'm like, I don't understand that. But it would be interesting to see stuff like that. Whereas you're not necessarily surviving longer because those wouldn't have been kill shots either way. But like functionally, I don't have to CMS as much in raid.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, that
could be cool. Could be completely irrelevant.
See.
Yeah, it'll wait to be seen.
Yeah,
but
I'm looking forward to it.
I know, and Nikita's looking forward to it. He's been saying that for the better part of a year now, that's one of his most favorite features. So once again, it's hard to tell if it'll come in the game and just immediately be like irrelevant or not that big of a deal, or if it'll be like one of the coolest things ever. But
yeah,
we'll see. Do we have a time frame on that, or is that just like a thing? Like, do we know? Has he? I just don't remember if he's actually said that's coming in 12.8, 2013, whatever.
I would be surprised if it was 12.8, just because
yeah, me too.
I generally have there's something that's coming in the next update, and then there's after that, you know?
Yes,
so
yeah,
like,
basically, yeah.
So things that are coming in the next update are like, they're things that I've heard about and they've talked about. Although I was at the beach yesterday, so I missed the podcast with the team and with Nikita. I have to go back and watch because I'm sure I probably missed some things there. So
me too, actually. I meant to go back and rewatch that part of it, and I didn't get a chance to. So maybe they did say something in there. But I mean, obviously the big thing this week going on in Tarkov is 12.7, and all that stuff. Before we dive into like our opinions of everything, I'd love to just throw out how much I think it's cool how well they're implementing patches as far as like patch day from like that standpoint of how long the game is down, how easy it is to get back in the game. Because this was something we talked about when they launched 12.5, because 12.5 was the wipe. And, you know, they tweeted out that they had 200,000 concurrent at one point after that. And I never had a problem getting into raids. And here we were again. We had a huge, the map expansion, you know what I mean? Guns and stuff like that. I was really worried that it was going to be one of those, like they say the game is going to be down for 4 hours, and then 3.5 hours in, they say it's going to be down for 2 more hours. And we were just going to play this game. And then, you know what I mean? I remember when point 12 came out, if you got into the game and clicked hideout, it crashed your game, and then you got back in the back of the line to get back in the game, and that's what I did. It was awful. I was one of the first people, and when point 12 came out, I was one of the first people in, because that was one of those days we were all just like sitting there waiting to get in the game. And I got into the game, my game was loaded, and I looked over and I had like a bunch of other streamers up, and I was one of the first ones in, and I was so excited about the hideouts. The first thing I clicked and the game just froze, and I spent an hour trying to get back into the It sucked. So this just went flawlessly from that perspective. Like, I never had problem getting into raids. I never had problems loading the game. The patch, they said it was going to be down for 4 hours. It was only down for like 2.5, 3 hours. So that went really, really smooth. I don't know how many people were playing. It was a Monday, which was a good call by them. They said they wanted to push it back from a Friday release, which was probably a really good idea.
That's always the dream.
Yeah. So it just went really, really well. But how much have you gotten to play since? How are you liking it so far?
I think I've experienced most of the new stuff, except I was just gonna say that I haven't seen Sanitar at all, but I'm pretty sure I killed him and his posse and didn't know it.
Oh, you didn't realize it? Because it was on your immersion run tonight, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, because I
was watching and I was like, oh, you just wiped Sanitar.
Yeah, I headshotted the dude and was like, oh, I figured he had like the shitty motorcycle helmet because it was like the face mask. And then I looted the first guy and he had the Fort T5 armor. I was like, oh, scavs have this now? And then I looted it. Oh, and then I looked and he had like 995 ammo or some other. I just remember being like, what the fuck? And then one of the guys had a decked out 366.
Yep.
Oh, no, wait, sorry. That was on customs. That was later on. But one of them had the medical backpack, and it didn't dawn on me until 20 minutes later. I was like, wait, was that Sanitar. I was like, who was rocking this stuff? And they're like, that was the Scav boss guards. I didn't realize.
I don't think,
because there was only 2 people. It was just one guard and Sanitar.
No, there's 2 guards. Did you?
Oh, maybe there was 2.
I don't think I was doing stuff while you were like I had you up on my other monitor and I was doing stuff. I never saw you go loot Sanitar. Did you loot a guy where his backpack you actually had to examine it? It was a brand new item in the game.
No.
Yeah.
But there was one that had the medical backpack.
Yes. So
but that's not new.
Yeah. So both of the guards can spawn with the medical backpacks on. They both spawn with class 5 armor. They almost always spawn with helmets, and they can do a bunch of different guns. Sanitar was outside, and I don't think I ever saw you loot him.
Fuck, I don't think I killed him.
I saw him dead outside.
Who was shooting? That must have been who was shooting at me from the fucking window, like eagle eye. Because usually the scav bosses have, like, they just see you no matter what.
100%.
That must have been him. Fuck.
Yep.
Man.
Because
I kept like looking through the window, and I was just looking to see. You know, normally you get shot out through the window, the window shatters, and then you just like see a scav walking backwards away from you, kind of thing. I was just expecting to see movement. I couldn't see anything.
Yeah. Yep. That was probably the Sandman. But yeah, you for sure wiped his guards. It's the Sanitar's cool, man. His fighting him is really interesting because it's weird when you see them run around. If you know you're fighting them, like you weren't sure because you got some crispy head. You got head tapped one of them, so that was already one. But if you know that you're fighting them, it feels like they put the scavs on fast forward. Like it just feels like they run like 10% faster and they move 10% faster and they aim on you 10%. It's just like feels, you're just like, that's so.
Is that the drugs?
I don't know. Maybe. And maybe I'm crazy. It just feels like that. And then he's such a different fight depending on where you find him. Like way more so than Rashala, way more so than Gluhar or something like that, in my opinion. So far, we've only had it for 2 days, but I've fought him 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. And I've survived like about half of them. If you catch him at cottages, dude, they will like sit in the bushes, but they don't see the bushes. So you're just like
perfect vision.
You're trying to just like wiggle peek out of the cottage because they could be in any one of the bushes. You hear him yelling, and you'll like
the hills have eyes,
dude. 100%.
Shoot the shrubbery,
dude.
Okay.
If you get them at cottages, those have always been the hardest fights for me because they'll move around, they'll hide in bushes, and they don't see it. And if you peek too long, it's just like whoop, bam, dead.
Yeah,
it's crazy. But if you fight them at the pier, there's way less like soft cover like that, and so it's much easier to like, oh, I hear him and he's inside, he's in that building, you know what I mean? And then you can like throw a grenade in or whatever.
So he can be anywhere. I was surprised. I didn't expect that he would be at Shoreline. I just figured he was at the cottages, and that was like kind of it.
Yeah.
But I do remember hearing that he could be more places.
So he can be on the pier, at the cottages. He not in the village. It'll only be in somewhere around those 2 cottages, and then at
what gun does he have?
At the resort. He every single time he has had a VSS with a Valde on it. Every time. For me, he's had.
Oh no! Wait, with a Valde.
With a Valde.
The 6X?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the 1X6X
with like a low profile.
Mm-hmm. With the SVD low profile mount. It's like sick. It's no foregrip or anything. He'll have 3 20-round mags. Sometimes they'll have BP in it. Sometimes they'll have SPP. Sometimes SP6. From me fighting him, every time he's had that. The guards can have Vepr Hunters. They can have Saiga shotguns. They can have, I think, maybe the new shotguns.
That's what they had. One of them had the new shotgun. And I think I was distracted by the new shotgun. I was like, oh, Mossberg. And then I was like insurance frauding my shit.
Yeah.
It just didn't occur to, and I was trying to figure out, because I had 2 of the T5 armors. I dropped my armor because I had a 32 out of 32 like killer armor. I'm like, just fucking drop this. Where are the good stuff? But I was trying to figure out how to take it all plus the helmet.
Yeah.
But at one point I was like, I have the medical backpack and the scav backpack, and I was like, trying to figure out if I could take both. Because I was thinking if I could fit the scav backpack and the medical backpack, then put the other things in the scav backpack, it would like supersede the rule that other things
let you work.
But then I forget that the backpack wouldn't go in the backpack, so I
ended up ditching it. Yeah, but they have every time I've fought them, both of the guards have class 5 armor. I've seen Gazelle, I've seen the Fort T5s and Defender armors, which the Defender armors are so nice because they're basically class 5 slicks. They repair really well, and they have a starting durability of 70 as opposed to like 60 or 65.
Man, I'm just gonna run Shoreline now.
Yeah,
like,
it's fun. And
but it seems like there's so many places he could be, and it's such a big map that like, what are the fucking chances I'm gonna find him? I guess 100% if I base it off of
it's hard. It's weird. Me and Geeks ran as soon as the patch dropped. Our first 3 Shoreline raids, we found him, and we found him at Cottage Resort and Pier. Like in our first 3 raids, we found him everywhere. The next 9 hours we played, we didn't find him again. So it's hard. But then yesterday I fought him 3 more times. So it's really weird. I don't know what his spawn chance is, and I don't know if they've been messing with it. But basically our thought is like, if I spawn anywhere like at that like by the shore, that blue fence construction area near Road to Customs, I'll hit Pier then Resort. And if I spawn on the other side of the map, I'll hit Cottages and then Resort. So it's like I most of the time don't check all 3 places, but I'll just hit 1 or 2 if I'm looking for him specifically. Obviously, if I'm just looking for PvP, I'm just gonna go to the resort or whatever. But it's so he can be really fun to fight. He can be really annoying to fight depending on where you catch him. I've seen him out in front of the West Wing. I only saw him once at Resort. You fought him like his goons were inside. I've only ever saw him there once. They were outside. They were on the front side, helicopter side of West Wing. One time we were playing and we were looping up. We had gotten into some PvP and we were looping up behind. We were like trying to go to Rock Passage. So we were behind admin building, like way out past those like wooden bears, like, and
like
so
down the hill a little bit.
Basically, like barely, you could barely see the admin building, and we got shot at by, we heard scav taunts and we got shot at, and we were like, oh, that's a little sus. And then afterwards, it was by a Keter with the specific rounds that like his guys can spawn with. So I think that we caught them on the back end.
Did you get hit?
Geeksa did. So he looked at like the damage, and the ammo. So
interesting. Has his healing, is that relevant at all to the fight?
Once again, depending, way more so in the cottages, because if you're tossing nades and you hear him get hurt, you can almost immediately hear him start to heal. But if you're out at the pier, it's so much easier to just see him and then kill him because he never has armor. So then it's like way less of an issue.
Oh shit! What's his HP? That's another thing I have to add.
I don't
manually,
know.
Is
really?
Is an HP mapping of the configuration, and I also changed that the HP is 85 on the chest.
Oh yeah, his HP doesn't seem crazy. Someone's saying 1100, but 11, 12, 1240. Yeah, so I don't know.
Whoa, that's more than Gluhar, which is 990.
Really, I have no idea. But he doesn't.
But no armor, so
yeah, he doesn't seem unbelievably hard to kill if you can catch him. It's just those guards have class 5. Like one of the times I kind of whipped around and point fired one, and I had BT in my AK, and I was a little low, so it was like chest, head. Like it just like took forever to take him down. So I mean, it feels pretty balanced. It doesn't feel bad. I like just how I like that it feels like a completely different fight, because if you fight him at the resort, you are very worried about PvP third parties. And the one time I found him at the resort, a player killed me while I was trying to kill him. At the cottages, it's sneaky mode. You're trying to like completely like crouch and break the lock and just like find them first. But at the pier, it's more of a just like charge, because you know that once you make noise out at the pier, other players are going to start moving that way. So you want to get onto the pier, kill them, loot, and get off. So I like that it feels like a different fight each time.
Interesting. That's cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that's cool. The stims, I guess, I mean, a good segue is the stims, which it's interesting. I thought that they were going to have, I guess, more on them, which is interesting. I've looted him with none on him, none of the new stims, sometimes 1. I think the most I've seen on him is 2. And then sometimes each of his guards can have 1 or 2. But they do. One of the things I was interested about is like where, if they're not on him, where are they going to be? And basically, I think anywhere stims can spawn, most of them can spawn as well now. Like I know you can pull heaps of them from labs, like the black key card and stuff like that. Like where all the stims are, like you can pull tons of them out. So
I don't have any key cards this patch.
Me either.
I finally made it out of labs. Well, I made it out of labs twice today because I'm doing the guide. But the first time I forgot to restart the quest, so I had to fucking go back again,
Dude.
and then I got head-eyes 3 times in a row, and then
The guide wrecked me this wipe. It wrecked me. I spent 3 whole days trying to do it before I just like couldn't handle it anymore. And I was like, all right, let's get 4 people in here. I don't care. Y'all can call me names. We're 5-man in this thing. Like I couldn't do it. After the 4th time we were on our second to last map and we're running to extraction and you hear somebody get up from prone, it's just like, and I'm just like, nope, can't do it.
yeah, I did customs, factory, and labs, and then we started this podcast. So we'll see if I'm able to.
Oh my god!
We'll see if I'm able to
Oh, the guide wrecked me.
keep the streak.
Oh, good luck. Good luck. But the snims are really interesting. Have you messed around with any of them at all?
I haven't seen anything. I haven't seen them.
Okay. So
I don't even know what they look like in game.
Really? Okay. So a few of them, like it's basically the same as the current stims, where like some of them feel like they're just never worth running, and then some of them feel almost like OP. I don't go into a raid without a mule stim right now because I've been testing that out a lot, and it's insane, dude. It's insane.
How much are they? Like they're insane, but
20,000 rubles.
oh,
They're
wait,
like,
why is it so cheap?
I don't know.
Is it just because there's a lot of them?
I don't
or
know.
Can you buy it on the flea market for 20,000?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, only the flea market. Otherwise, you have to find them.
Okay, so what does it do? Tell me.
Early in the day, they were 65, and me and Geeksel were like, "Yo, they're never gonna be this cheap again." We bought like 10 at 65,000, and then they plummeted to like 20 to 30,000. So it just increases your carry capacity by 50%. So I think at stock strength, level 1 strength, you can carry 115 kilograms before you get to that critical overweight stage. So basically, if you're in the like 60 to 70 kilograms, which is where you can barely run, you can barely walk, and you pop that, you go all the way down to like not even encumbered or just at the beginning of the first overweight. Like it's just gone. It's just completely, you can have basically anything you want on you, and you can run and you can sprint. Dude, it's crazy. And it was so
people are saying it got nerfed.
Yeah, they got nerfed.
Is that after the nerf?
Well, they nerfed it. This was really interesting. They nerfed it not by changing the carry capacity. They nerfed it by now for the entirety of the stim, which is I think 15 minutes, you take 9% more damage. Which is basically the opposite of some of these other stims that let you take more damage. You take or when you it's
so that's what you're paying for it.
Yes. Which
Which
I think is a really interesting way to do that, because think about like when you take a mule, you're probably coming out of PvP. Oftentimes you're deciding whether you should keep your armor on or get this guy's armor on because he almost zeroed your armor and you almost zeroed his armor, and it's like a thing. And now I just want to hightail it to extract. This is going to let me do that really, really easy, and I'm not going to have to crawl every 13 steps. But because my armor's messed up, if a scav sees me and shoots me, like 9% more damage, like he could mess me up. So I thought it was a pretty interesting way to nerf that stim.
It's a good trade-off.
It's exactly.
The thing is, everything in this game has always just been like, the only trade-off is that it's fucking expensive.
Exactly.
In this case, now at least like there's something meaningful. I like that.
And something to be
that's
aware
more
of.
Interesting design.
Exactly. So I was actually really excited about that. I thought that was pretty cool. And then the other 2 ones that everybody were freaking out about is the Meldonin, I think that's how it's pronounced, and the P22. They both basically gave you 20% more health because you took 20% less damage or whatever. And then they were both that day nerfed to 10%, which I watched. I was just doing I was trying to accumulate all the research. I watched one Peg's video on when they were at 20% and what your head health was when you had that 20%. And then they nerfed it to 10. And then I stacked that against, because people were posting videos of like 545 BS shooting somebody in the head, no armor, you know what I mean? They're not dying, which felt really kind of sleazy. And then I was doing a bunch of math, and it feels like 9 out of 10 of the really common calibers and the really common rounds will now one tap you to the head, even with the 10%. Because I think you need 40 flesh. I think it's around there, 39 or 40 flesh to 1 tap to the head with the 10% increase. So that feels better because 10% more health still feels pretty meaningful to me, but not removing the immersiveness of being able to head tap somebody. You know what I mean? Like it makes your helmet all the more, because now if you have something with, you know, around like BT with like 37 pen and 40, I don't remember how much flesh, but if it hits your class 4 and now it's less, like you might survive that or something. So it definitely goes into effect, but
people are saying that that they're getting rid of the effect on the head.
Oh, really? Is that official thing that they're interesting?
Apparently Nikita said that yesterday.
On the podcast. Okay. Interesting.
I mean, that was the big criticism of it. I remember seeing like a tweet and stuff about everybody. And I was like, when 12.7 came out, I was like late to the game. I streamed it for like 2 hours and was like, man. Today was the first day in a while that I was actually like looking forward to playing it.
Nice.
And then I'm still looking forward to playing it after
awesome.
this. I needed a fucking break.
Yeah. For sure.
But I just remember like all of a sudden coming in and seeing like all this
Dude.
people freaking out. It was like, it's nice to not be in the shit.
I saw a bunch of people
coming to my stream because I ain't live.
posting screenshots and like, yeah, I'm out until this is removed. And it really did, like, because we knew that was going to happen, but when you feel it in game, when you're shooting somebody in the head, like a hatchling, a mosling, and you shoot him in the head and he doesn't die, you're like, that doesn't feel right. So I like that. I like the thought of just removing it from the head. And then I would potentially even be fine with them buffing it back to like 15% or something like that to make it feel meaningful. But there's 2 stims. There's the Meldonin where that effect lasts 15 minutes, which is a long time. It just maybe too long.
900 seconds is 15 minutes, right?
Yeah.
That's what the mule.
Yep.
I'm examining them on the flea market now.
Yeah.
You said there were 20K, so the mule is 75K. This can't be from just us fucking talking.
No
about
way.
It.
I logged on earlier today and I bought 6 for 27K or something like that.
Well, maybe we should. You got to tell me. Okay. You got to tell me before so I can buy them all up before we talk about them.
That's so weird. Why are they so maybe
we've got the power, there's 1,000 people that just went and bought.
I guess that's true. I didn't think about that. 33K 5 minutes ago. Well,
you fucking idiot.
They'll level out. They will. Because
let me see. I don't know if it's on the flea market price check feature. Mule.
Yep, I bought 130K. Wow.
25 grand is what it says, and that's the last 24 hours.
Okay, well, I didn't know that I had that power. I'm sorry. I take it back. There.
SMH my head.
SMH my head.
Wait a minute. We could. One of these days, I just need to be like, Nikita said that everything's gonna go up, blah blah blah, and just like totally fucking play the market.
Dude, yes, insider trading. Buy 10 and then tell everybody.
It's role playing, right? It's just digital currency.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd need to feel. What should I feel ethically bad if I wanted to do that?
No.
I don't think so.
Well, I don't think you could, because anything you bought off the flea market, you wouldn't be able to resell. So. And they took away the dynamic trading. That's how Pestily did it. Was he got, therapists to buy the thing.
Pestyly's why we can't have nice things. And everybody knows it.
Well, anyways,
he's a Rust streamer now anyways. So.
Yeah. The Meldonin and the P22, they both do that buff. The P22 stim only does it for 60 seconds, which I like as a tactical thing. The other day, I was playing. The only time I've used it, I was playing and I remembered. I was like, oh, I had one of these in my Kappa. I popped it, and 2 seconds later got M80 to the chest and lived. I was like, oh, like it was like it actually. You only have 60 seconds.
Have like 2 HP left or whatever.
Yes, I had 2 HP to the thorax, and I was like, oh my gosh! And I like got into a bush and I healed it, and I ended up winning the fight. And so that felt cool. You know what I mean? It feels like, depending on the situation, if you have time to hit a Propital and then go down your Kappa and right click and hit one of those, and this fight's going to be over in a little bit. That feels kind of cool. The other ones, I watched Voxy's video today. And we don't have to talk about the stims forever. I love the stims, so I love talking about it.
What was the name of the other one so I can look it up?
P22 and then Meldonin. I think Meldonin.
Yeah, I got those.
The Meldonin's expensive.
P22 is only 20 grand. Should I buy it?
I bought
right now.
I bought a bunch of them, because I just want to test what it's like to pop that in the middle of a fight. and see how much, like maybe that was a fluke that I got, you know what I mean, that it worked out for me. Meldonans have been sitting at around 100K for, I'm pretty sure, since the wipe started. But the other one is, there's one, it's like the AC 31 or something like that, and it's another like, you know, strength and endurance one. What's that look for? Are you buying all of them?
Well, the only one, the cheapest one for sale right now is 60, and then 90, and then 97, and then 128.
Of which one?
22.
What the heck? Did you just buy a bunch?
No.
Oh my God. Why didn't we have this podcast back when the flea market, you could just buy stuff and resell it? We could have made so much money.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Anyways, there's one like the AC something, starts with the A. It's not that insanely like OP or viable, but I saw Voxy in his video. He was 96 kilos. He had a tank battery and 3 regular batteries. He popped a Meldonin, then this new AC one, then an SJ6, and then a mule. Just all 4. He just ripped them. And dude, he was running and he was gaining stamina faster than he was losing it. He was full sprinting, gaining stamina, and then he
fucking like, was he casting ethereal hammers in a fucking circular arc around his like,
basically? And he was full sprinting, and he was once he hit full stamina, he was not draining stamina. Full sprint. 96 kilograms. It was insane. Now that was like 450,000 rubles worth of stems. You know what I mean? And that would be 4 slots in your alpha, beta, gamma, kappa, whatever. So it's not like people are going to run that. It was just nuts, dude. It was insane. 96 kilograms. And he was just literally running forever. You can run just circles around shoreline all day. It was crazy. So it was interesting. I like the stems. I'm totally fine with them tinkering with them. Like the mule nerf, I thought was pretty dope. So, but
yeah, I'm fine with them. Like I would never get. I didn't really quite understand the whole like I'm done with this game kind of thing, because it's like, you know, but there is something to be said about like, you know, this is broken and should be fixed.
Yeah.
Ball's in your court now, and you know, if a week goes by and they don't change anything, well then it's like, you know, maybe you can start talking about I'm fucking done with this game.
Yeah.
But yeah, just one of those things. Like I wonder if that was something that ever crossed the radar around like you can survive a headshot now without a helmet. Do you think that was, because it's entirely possible that it didn't at all, right? Somebody would say it will give you X% more whatever. And how does that? Yeah, I mean, X%. Yeah, that sounds good. Okay, well then let's go implement it without anybody actually saying
exactly
this percent of 35, the minimum damage for a thing equals this amount that's now less than the 100% HP, right? Like it's entirely possible that nobody considered it. Which,
like you were saying, that distance between Nikita, you know, vision casting on a whiteboard to the guy writing the code, who was just like, okay, 20% total health pool. Let me split that up amongst the limbs. Yeah, that looks about right. And then just ships it. And nobody looks at the fact that head health is 46 now or whatever it was. And it, you know what I mean? And so, yeah, so exactly. It's very possible that they were just like, oh, yeah, that's actually not good. Let's fix that. You know what I mean? And so maybe they temporarily reduced it to 10 so that they could then code in that 20% gets implemented everywhere else except for the head. So yeah, and I think it's cool. I mean, it's drugs, man. Drugs make you do crazy stuff.
If it were me, I would love to. Oh, fuck, maybe I should just do this. I might just do this now. But to build a system that it's essentially just a script that goes through and it runs all of the ammo against each of the armors, and what it essentially outputs is like the minimum best case time to kill versus maximum worst case time to kill for every bullet in the game, just to be able to see, like, if you see that one is 1,497 bullets, like something's wrong, and if now you see that there's a bullet now where the best case is 2 shots, you know, like, wait a minute, you know, you could have this stim. So just to be able to like build all that in, and so that when you make changes, you press a button, it's going to run the changes that you make through this giant script with a matrix and output, a big ass, output that basically says, here's what the average time to kill is. Here's what the minimum, the maximum. Here's some of the outliers. Here's some of the things that we should be keeping a lookout for. Because otherwise, I feel like there's just so many things that it's such a complex system that they change one number and they're like, it's 2 more than it was before.
Yeah.
What does that actually mean?
Yeah.
Because it might not mean anything, right? Like if there's times that they've changed the pen value, sorry, not the pen value, the damage value, to where it's like in 0 cases does that 1 extra damage matter?
Yeah, actually matters. Yep.
It's always going to be like the 2 bullets is not enough to kill, but the third is always enough to kill, kind of thing.
Yep.
Or sometimes they change the fragment. This is what gets me. They change the fragmentation chance on bullets with like 7 pen.
So it means nothing.
And for those that don't know, I think it's 20 or less penetration. The bullets will never fragment, which is just a 50% crit hit, if you want to think about it that way. So like rip ammo has 100% fragmentation chance, like the rip shells, but it's got like 0 pen, so it'll always just do its base damage amount.
Yeah.
It's never going to actually fragment, so the 100% is pointless. But it's like they could change it from 6 to 8, but it's like,
yeah.
But it makes me wonder, like, why did they do this? There's no reason why they do it unless they thought it made a difference. And if someone is there right now that thinks that would make a difference, and they're not an intern on their first project, I'm not going to say I want them fired.
They need to answer for themselves.
I just want a fucking explanation.
Yeah. That would be really interesting to do, though, what you're saying about the ammo. Because then you could apply that you could run that simulation through like with and without the stims and see, you know what I mean? You could have predicted like, oh, like if we're talking headshots exclusively, time to kill went up on every round, basically. Do you want that? And just like, if so, okay, but do you want that?
Or maybe it's like half the bullets it affects, half of them it doesn't. Okay, well then maybe that's more interesting.
Yeah.
And you can also do it. I mean, I think I'm just gonna do it, because what this can do is I wanna come up with some sort of, you know how the ammo charts have like a meta score?
Yeah.
It's never been anything that's ever made any sense to me.
Yeah.
I should just ask Clean and he could probably explain it, but I want to come up with like some sort of value that is a single number that, like, there's some way to take the 13-dimensional matrix and say like, this is B, and this is A plus, if it's like good most of the time, like something like BT would be like, that's a B plus, right? Because it's like it's going to penetrate after 4 bullets and kill in 2 shots, or it's going to kill in 2 shots against, no armor.
Yep.
So I might just do that, because then I could come up with like a tiered system, and then all of the inputs can be changed. Every ammo value, all of the health values, the fragmentation, the penetration, the armor, the body zones, HP numbers, that could all just be a thing where, what would happen if you had 90 HP in your chest or double the HP in your legs? Here's what would happen. And maybe that's interesting. Maybe there's some cool shit.
That would be super interesting. I like it.
Anyway,
I like it a lot.
Rant.
No. You got to spend any time on new customs expansion?
Yes. The first raid I did on the new customs expansion, I had some fun PvP just against like a random. I was in that one building that has like 2 turrets up top. It's just a construction building. It's got like, I don't know if there are more buildings like this, if I'm describing an obvious one or not, but it was like I'd be looting something and then I'd hear footsteps and I'd look and I'd kill somebody and then go loot him, and then all of a sudden I'd hear footsteps and it was fun. It felt good. But then like the 3rd scav I killed, he had Dr. Lupo's beans on him, and I was like, time to go.
Time to go.
And I ran all the way about 2 feet past the railroad track that is like giant red Russian thing with a red arrow that way, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, and I like backtracked and was like, I don't speak Russian, but I think I know what that means, and I turned around. And
no, I thought you were gonna say you got sniped, bro.
No, I made it out. I mean, that's my latest YouTube video. Was me that first raid, which
so many.
all of it. but so
People.
far it's been good. I like that, like near the ZB exfil, that building that used to just be nothing, now all of a sudden it's got like some industrial items, and there's like,
dude.
I love it. I love the new glass, the smoked
Yep.
block glass, like
Tiled
my grandmother's bathroom used to have that
Yes,
shit.
dude. Which I don't know if this is a bug or a feature, but if you have like a you know how like when you're just standing right behind it, it obscures your vision quite a bit. It's almost like, you know, layered or whatever.
It's like water basically.
If you use like a 4x or a 6x, it clears that up so much, which kind of makes sense because whatever those grooves would be you're not looking at as many of them. So it's like if you were to go to that window, if you were to put your face to it,
smooth it out.
Yeah.
Well,
so
not smooth it out, but it's like, imagine looking at something that was really crooked and broken, but then you zoom in, and it's like when you look at the border of the United States on a map, it might look jagged, but when you zoom in to where you're on the beach, it's 100 feet of straight beach.
Yeah. Right? So I don't know if that's whatever, but like if you're in those buildings and you've got like a Valde or a Voodoo and you pop in and you know a guy's in an area, like I've had a few times where I crouch down so I'm behind those things and you can get a shot on somebody and then just hold C and scroll wheel up to one of the holes and you can kind of see him, because from that distance, from their distance, there's no way they can see you, and you can kind of do some spotting, because I don't think you can shoot through that glass. You can do some spotting if you've got like a variable zoom and then pop up to one of the holes.
Someone said that Ghost got in a few fights and did take some damage, but it's probably like
really?
the glass where like 1 out of every fucking 20 of your bullets goes through, but 99% of scav bullets goes through.
100%.
Yeah.
But it's the new customs is awesome. I just love the aesthetic of everything. It feels good, like we talked about. It feels very like reservy in certain parts.
It really does. I don't know, and the cool part is that like I don't know where the boundary is.
Yes.
Yet it's like I just keep kind of running, and I've only come to like one place where it's actually over by Old Gas, where there's like the 2 train cars that like stop you, so you have to go around and like hop the fence. But I feel like I've spent a bunch of time there, and I feel like I've either seen all of the expansion or I've seen like 5% of it, and I can't tell which.
Yeah, and that's why I love stuff like the sniper thing, because it gives the feeling of a wider map. But there is a wall there, right? If you run past this point, you're going to get sniped from the sniper scav. So I like how they use that to make it feel bigger and more open. Like everybody, I mean, so many people died because they were like, this goes forever. And you just start running and then you get sniped. Deadly, he was in an offline raid and he got sniped and he was like very confused until he figured it out.
Was it just one shot? Just like 1 tap?
It was 2 shots, yeah.
Did they have like 100% accuracy? Like,
oh yeah. From everything,
it's like
I've
a cutscene that's like you die. There's no way.
From everything I've seen, it's like I don't know that you have time to get out. It's like poof, poof, dead. Second shot, you're dead. First shot.
What happens if you manage to get 15 PMCs and you all lined up as body shields, and all of you stemmed like crazy with level 6 armor, and you were able to like change the armors and try to block all the bullets and then see how far you could get. I mean, at some point you're probably just like would hit an invisible wall, or the game would crash, or maybe it's like,
congratulations,
you escaped Tarkov.
You have escaped.
And there's just like Nikita and the dev team are in the game, like,
yep,
come visit. Oh my god, can you imagine how that needs to be like the spiritual sequel to my Welcome to Hell series, where the whole time they've been in the game developing it from inside, and that's why it's been so hard for them to develop the game, because like, oh yes, we get the current situation. They think we're talking about, we think they're talking about coronavirus, but instead they're talking about like
economical collapse in Tarkov.
Yeah, the scavs are always in here fucking with our code.
But yeah, I don't know how far you can make it, but I like that stuff. I love how many of the other buildings they touched on. Like you went into one of those buildings way back by the ZB extract. There's another one, like it's hard to describe. It's like one of those buildings. There's 2 staircases going up, and you could it's in that same side of the map near the ZB ones, and there's doors up on top that were always locked, and you could jump up on the railing and kind of get a view out of the window. And it was like an old spot people Well, both of those upstairs doors now open. There's a bunch more loot up there, and there's a camera and a green screen set up. So I took a screenshot of one of the PMCs in front of the green screen.
Wait, shut the fuck up. Whoa.
Yes,
whoa.
I'm telling you.
That?
Yes.
I said that.
Yes.
Fuck. Do you think they were listening, or is
I
it just...
don't know, but me and my buddy were like,
Wait, where? So I was half listening, dude. And now I'm full listening.
okay.
What the fuck?
So basically, what's the best way to describe it? The building that you were talking about, the one that's right by the ZBX track that you can get in, if you were to go out that building and cross over the pipe closer to the wall, there's another building there that you can't get in. But the building next to that, so you're basically, if you're looking over, you can look down at the flash drive van, you can look down at the like pipes and the boilers that nobody ever gets up on, and it's before you cross through the gate to like the warehouse's side. It's one of those buildings. You've always been able to go in the building, and you've always been able to go up the stairs, but on both sides of the building, the doors at the top of the stairs you can never interact with. Well, both sides of the building you can open those doors now. And in one of them is just like you go in a room, then another room.
Wait, is this Shoreline?
No, customs.
Oh, customs. Yeah.
And
Okay.
then in another room, and then there's a camera set up and a green screen. And you can like, I wanted to
How big is the green screen?
Use Stashkey. It's
Big
not
enough?
huge, but it's big enough. Like if you wanted to like put something or somebody and then have them run and just get a bunch of video of them running and then cut it, and you could like crop in and Final Cut or in Premiere and get some. I'm already like thinking of stuff to do for sure. It's incredible.
I need to ask. I'm sending Nikita a message right now. I just need to know if that was something they were planning, or if that was. I would actually be really happy. He was like, "Oh yeah, we heard it on your podcast. Someone,
That would be amazing.
Oh my fucking god, dude, that's what I wanted.
Yeah. So that's on custom. So they showed a lot of love to a lot of the buildings. The skeleton in construction that's between the skeleton that like is right by the sniper scav and the other construction thing that you can climb up in that you can never, that whole thing you can go up top now and explore that and walk up there. Is
there like loot? Is it worth?
There's a little bit
out?
of loot. I mean, it's just one of those things where it's like you get great views on everything, but everything has a great view on you. So there are some sandbags there is some cover. I've seen a bunch of people up there too. So it's just interesting, like, because from there you can look at the entire new thing and see the new building.
Sugar Born in Heaven is poggers.
100%.
Actually.
You can see the new building with the MGs. You can see all that. You can look over at dorms. You can look at Sniper Scav. You can look at the old skeleton. So like that's a cool thing. Something I'm so excited about is that all of the windows in both dorms you can jump in and out of now. Which yes.
Like, do you have to crouch jump, or can you just like?
No, just like crouch jump, just like reserve. One of the things that makes reserve so fun is that no matter where you're fighting, if you're fighting, one of the guys that I do it with a lot is just so good at the game, Desmond, and he just thinks on another level than me, and he's just constantly, he'll be like, no, I'm gonna hop out this window and go underneath them, and I'm like, I would have never thought of that, and that's what makes reserve so like, if you're in one of those pawn buildings, you can get out a million different ways, and so now you can just like go into a room, close the door, and just huck yourself out the window and either reset,
just jump on the bed and just 100%, like crouch.
And then just reset the fight, or come back in from below or from outside.
That's sick. There's so many times that I wanted to go out the window because it was like, well, now I just have to be an idiot and play this like an idiot.
Exactly. Because that's part of what makes dorms PvP just like awful, is that it feels like over 50% of the time, 2.5 seconds into the fight, you're like, okay, I'm in a room, he's holding this angle. I have one way to go, and he's got all raid to sit there and wait for me to go. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's it. But now, every one of those rooms, except for the rooms with like blocked windows, you can just hatch it out the window, just crawl right out. And you're not going to, especially if you're on second floor, you're not going to break your legs or anything. So that's going to be great. So they really showed a lot of love to like customs. Like, you know what I mean? Not just the new area. I love it. I love the aesthetic of it. I love the...
I have a question for you.
Yeah?
Because I agree with you. I will say, though, my stutters are back.
Really? I haven't had any. Not a single one. That I can remember. Maybe I've had one, but I haven't had... a bunch of people commented on my video and came in a chat, and they were like, what happened to my frames? What happened to my frames? What happened to my frames? And I was like,
My frames have been fine.
I don't know. My frames feel, I don't keep a frame counter up, so I don't know if I've lost 7 frames on average, but I feel absolutely no noticeable difference in frames, but a lot of people have experienced that. So I don't know if it's on certain machines or certain graphics drivers or certain graphics cards or whatever, but I have had no stutters and no noticeable frame drops.
Interesting. Yeah, my frames, like on Shoreline, I get high 70 to like 110 to 120-ish, depending on which direction I'm looking, indoors versus outdoors. But overall, it's been running pretty good. But yeah, they are small and they are short.
Okay.
Yeah, they're pestily sized stutters.
Which is weird because you said they came back a little bit into 12.5 and then they went away again for you. And I haven't had any issues since 12.5. So that's interesting. But yeah, dude, I like customs. The one thing, and I actually saw some people in chat too, and I noticed it. So the first 6 hours of the patch, everybody was in that new area. It was PvP Central. It was PV. Oh, Scav Boss can spawn there, by the way. Rashala can spawn in that giant skeleton, the new one with the MGs up top, which is cool. Just another spot for him to be. I fought him there once, and that was cool. But it was all there. But then as the day went on and yesterday and stuff like that, Customs PvP feels like it's slowed down a lot because I don't think at that
spread out
time, they had upped the player count, which as of now, they have increased the time in raid by 5 minutes and increased the player count by 1. But I was trying to figure out if I minded that or not, because now that I have Kappa Container, really the only thing left to do is like PvP. So that's kind of what you want to do. But at the same time, from a 10,000 foot view, I almost like that. I was equating it to like, I feel like this is a mini version of what Streets wants me to feel like. Am I going to get into a fight or am I not going to get into a fight? Am I going to find Scav Boss or am I not going to find Scav Boss? Because that when you spend 1,000 hours playing Tarkov just rushing gunshots because that's what you have all the quests on and that's the only thing left to do, you kind of forget what that feels like, what Tarkov is supposed to feel like. Is this going to be a 4-man wipe raid where I need to mule up and get out of here with 100 kilograms worth of loot? Or is this going to be I hit a few secret stashes and killed some scavs and I was scared the whole time type of raid?
Yeah.
So I was kind of trying to decide whether I liked that or not. And they only increased it by 1, so I don't think it's going to be crazy or anything, but it's definitely bigger, like way bigger. So the PvP is definitely way more spread out.
Yeah, I mean, I can't think of any real negatives other than the fucking stutters. But they're in terms of Tarkov stutters, they're the least bad ones I've experienced. But it's still just kind of like, no, not again.
Yeah,
I experienced one like 14 seconds into 12.7. Was like, well, here we go.
Here we go. That's crazy. Yeah, I haven't experienced anything. The other thing was the grenade launcher, and people have, like we assumed, we're going to have opinions. I played Escape from Tarkov the absolute minute that they tweeted out, game is live. I went live, and I played for 12 hours, and I did not run across a single grenade launcher, not one. I don't think I heard it in raid. Maybe I did. Maybe some of the explosions in the distance I heard were grenade launchers, but I never saw one time. And we were playing Shoreline and Customs almost nonstop, so you'd think that people would take them there.
Where could you get them? You had to buy them from
barter.
Peacekeeper?
Yeah, you bartered for them from Peacekeeper, which I think was a change because I think they were for sale in that original video. But they were barter. It was a VPX and 3 military circuit boards. 7 seconds into the wipe, military circuit boards were 300,000 and VPXs were 800,000. So it's a 1 million ruble gun. 4 seconds into the wipe, I had 3 military circuit boards. I logged in. I bought a VPX. I bartered for 1. I still haven't taken it into an online raid. I've taken it to a bunch of offline raids. And
does it explode on impact?
It does if the if
over
it
a
goes,
certain distance.
If it goes far enough. So as far as I understand it, the 4 high explosive rounds are in the game just all have different arming distances, and you just gotta do that. If you shoot it low or if you shoot it not far, it won't explode. I don't know if it does damage if you hit somebody with it and it doesn't explode. And then there's a buckshot round.
Should like break your arm, but
Yeah,
like
exactly.
do 1 point of damage.
There's a buckshot round too, which I've heard people are just running around like laying out factory with with those things, but I haven't seen it. The buckshot is, I mean, like if you're more than 10 meters away, you might get hit with one pellet. It spreads. It just goes whoosh. But if you're staring down Death Hallway and Factory, it's perfect. You know what I mean? So, but like I said, I didn't come across one. Now there was it's been vaulted as of yesterday, and there was like a big.
Say vaulted, you mean they took it out?
Yeah, you can't. There's the 3 that are left on the flea market for $6 million a piece are still in the game. You know, the one I have in my stash is still in the game, but you can't barter for them anymore. And they took them out of the loot pool. You can find them in secret stashes, and stuff like that. But they took it out of the loot pool. I believe that there was, and maybe Nikita talked about this on the podcast, so I don't know, but I believe that there was just a bug where the blast radius ignored walls. Because
I heard about that. Yeah,
there's a clip of Landmark wiping a 4-man with one, and the
2 were inside, 2 were outside.
and yeah, like 2 or 3 of them were on the other side of this wall, and he like looked out the window and he was like, "What?" And he checked all the tags and he got a 4-man. So, but that to me doesn't seem like a reason to freak out. It's just like, oh, they'll just fix that. Like it didn't crash the game. You know what I mean? Like it didn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't a bug where the explosion radius was 9 times bigger than it was supposed to be, and you could wipe a floor of the resort. You know what I mean? It was like, oh, that's bad. Let's fix that.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like, considering the last time there was a grenade launcher in Tarkov, it was just like a tactical nuke. You pulled the trigger and the server went down. This seems like a much smaller thing. So
yeah.
So I don't know. It didn't, like, of course, I'm sure I'm going to be super frustrated if I'm running with some homies and we all get, jail 40'd. But I played for 12 hours that day. I played for 6 hours the next day. I didn't come across a single one. And then they vaulted it. So it doesn't seem like a huge deal. The thing that I keep telling people is, like, you have to remember that, like, unless the dude is memeing, it is a secondary weapon. You know what I mean? Like, it's...
I wonder, it's a one-shot. Can you reload it? I'm assuming, yeah right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, like...
Ammo's too cheap, I feel like.
I'm just thinking about, let's say a less legitimate player gets a hold of one.
Yeah.
And it now means that, rather than head tap, it's put one right between fucking 3 dudes. And now you just got 3 for 1. And the risk of, like, because like we said before, the only downside to a lot of things is just that they're expensive.
Yeah.
So, but money doesn't matter if you can just essentially print money if you're cheating.
It's true. Money doesn't matter to cheaters. Well, you could make an argument that, like, money doesn't matter. The top 1% is always, Tarkov just going to be able to afford anything. You make the grenade launcher any amount of money. It's an interesting correlation between that and something like the T7, which came into the game. You could buy them for $500K. Then everybody freaked out. And
I've never seen one in game except for the one that I bought once, or like.
And then you could buy them from Jaeger for 17 million. And then I honestly don't know where they are now. You know what I mean? Like it's just one of those things where, like, I don't know what happened. I don't know if they balanced that with money, with just like it's way too expensive even for the super chads to use. Like
the last time I used one, I had the drop on some guy and he just like 180 drop shotted me, killed me, and it was like, it didn't help that I potato aimed. The 17 million didn't help.
Yeah.
That the guy's movement was just unexpected and that he managed to clip me in the head. And I lost 17 million. He was actually a streamer, a smaller streamer, and he was like, dude, I'll give it back to you. I was like, nah, man, fucking make some content with it. Like, go balls deep.
Yep. I've killed 2 people with them the entire wipe, or the entire time since they've been in the game, and that's it. So I just don't, like, you know what I mean? I don't know. The grenade launcher is interesting, though, because from a weapon perspective, like, or a weapon like the grenade launcher, right? Like, it's supposed to be a grenade launcher. Like, it's supposed to kill people. You can't balance a grenade launcher with damage, really. if it blows up next to me, I'm gonna
It should
die.
kill you.
Like,
yeah.
you know what I mean? It's you can't, like, with all the other guns, you can say, well, if we adjust the pen a little bit or the damage, then maybe it makes this gun feel better, whatever. But with a grenade launcher, you can't balance it with damage.
You could, but I think it would be bad design, right? If it takes 2 or 3 grenades to kill a guy, it's like, well, then what? That's worse than the fucking bolt action sniper.
Exactly. So if it's bad design to balance it that way, and it's a weapon, it's not a utility item, really the only thing left to do is balance it through cost and availability, and the fact, once again, that this is a secondary weapon, you know what I mean, for almost everybody. Like, you know what I mean? Because that's the thing, is like, if you're in the resort and you like, and you both like come out of rooms and you're close to each other and he's only got a grenade launcher, like, he can shoot it at you as many times as he wants. There's just not enough distance. It's not going to blow up. Just run at him.
Now I heard that Anton did headshot a guy point blank and he died. So it does
really
have, as assuming that someone in chat wasn't lying, it does have some like blunt
that's
percussion
incredible then.
damage.
I mean, I kind of am okay with that, because if a 40 millimeter grenade hit me in the face, I would probably die. But I don't know. So it's going to be interesting to see. Once again, I still hold to the fact that I feel like this was such a missed opportunity to make it a utility. Give me smokes, like, give me flashes. I don't know. But I know that I'm not going to be rocking a 900,000 ruble secondary weapon for many of my raids.
I'll do it once, just like the T7.
100%. So
if I get one, how big is it? Like, is it like a 2x4?
it's 3x2, and then when you fold it, it's 2x2.
But you can't fit it in like your gamma or your kappa, right? So
Correct.
I was gonna say the only way I'd use it is if I were to like gamma it,
Yeah.
and then like die, because then I can't sell it.
Yeah.
But to me, like, I'd rather sell it if I make it out with one. I don't know, like,
Yeah.
I'll use one for the content,
Exactly.
but after that, it's like I just don't see it being super useful. But that's like most things in this game. Everything might be useful. It might be relevant, right?
Yeah.
Like all of your armor only matters if you don't get shot in the face.
Yes.
All of your ammo matters only if you shoot somebody.
Yeah.
All of your meds and stims matter if you're able to use them and you don't die before. So
Yeah.
that's why like items like the grenade launcher and a lot of the like the T7 and the thermal, like, I just don't see them as super overpowered, because sometimes you just don't get to use them.
Yeah.
You know?
Which is why I kind of like where it sits, is like it's in the loot table and it's barter only, and the barter's really expensive, because then it feels more like, if I kill a player with it, I can't sell it on the flea market, so I might use it. But that will only be when I use it. You know what I mean? Like, if I find one in a ground stash, I might sell it based on, you know, how much they're going for or whatever, like that.
As long as you're not dying every raid to a grenade launcher, then I'm fine. I'm fine if I die once a day
100%.
to a fucking grenade, you know, and so.
Because everything has to have the trade-off, right? Like, I want to feel the feeling of killing a guy that had like an RSAS and a grenade launcher, but I don't get to have that feeling unless he has a reason to use it, which means I'll probably die to him every once in a while. But that's why we like Tarkov, right? You know what I mean? Yep. So it didn't feel OP in the sense, other than the obvious bug where I can shoot through walls. That's of course OP. You know what I mean? But it didn't feel insane. I didn't run across a single one. Somebody in my chat said that they scabbed into a customs raid and wiped a 4-man. They all had them on it. Which is just, that's the way to go right there.
I wonder if they might not have even gotten the chance to fucking fire him.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yep.
Like when you kill a level 2 guy with a Fort Kiver and an AK, and you're like, oh no, bud, this is your. It took him 6 raids of dying, and then finally he's like, I'm gonna take out the good gear, and then he spawns in like glass hallway in factory, and you're just like, ding, and he's dead, and you're like, sorry, bud.
Yep. So, and then they could, you know, make the ammo rare, right? I mean, it's like you can buy some of the high explosive rounds for like 86 USD, and you can buy 5 every 3 hours. Like, they could make that, You know, you could arguably make it just like loot only for the ammo, and then you can barter for the thing, and then the price will go up a little bit on the flea market and stuff. But
it's just one of those things that like I guess I don't fully see. I don't want to say I don't fully see the point, because like I get that they want to add
no, I agree.
all the things, right? But at the same time, it's like, what the reason why I should use something is either because it's always a value prop.
Yeah.
Something is twice as much and it's twice as good. But this is like, this thing is equally as effective as like a 50 round drum in a like a FAL.
Yep.
In terms of being able to kill in 2 seconds 3 people, but then at the same time, point blank against a hatchling, you're kind of fucked. So it's I'd rather have the FAL. So why am I going to spend 5 times as much? It's just like, where does it fit in the game?
Once again, though, man, it fits so perfectly. If there's like 2 high explosive rounds, they're loot only, and their spawn chance is like the spawn chance of a LEDX. But there's 4 smokes, 2 flares, and 2 flashes, and the price of the grenade launcher is half as much, or a quarter
like
as
20
much.
grand or something. Because if it's 20 grand and it's just smoke grenades, then at least like now smoke grenades are going to be used a bunch if their smoke
100%.
grenades don't suck, and there's nothing.
And then every once in a
shitty
while,
about-
you run across the guy who found one of the grenades in a ground stash. He gammed it because he wanted it. He died on his way out, and he can't put it up on the flea market. It's like, well, let me load this. I have one I'm going to take into the raid. Let me load it in. And he might go ham and just be like, oh, that's a 4-man gunk, and just like get him. You know what I mean? Like, and it would be so cool. But that's why, once again, it's like, exactly. They want to add all the things, and that's cool. But this was like, you could add this thing and make it like viable. Like, I want it. It's worth the money. It's a valid secondary, because that's, I feel like, a thing that the game misses a lot. There's too many meta weapons that there's just no reason for a secondary. There's no reason for pistols. There's very little reason for submachine guns. There's just no utility to any items other than your primary weapon. But it would just be so cool to have this as like, man, this is a utility. If I'm, you know what I mean, rolling, especially with a duo or a trio, and I see a guy and I can just smoke it, and we can split and we can hold an angle, like that would be cool. And then maybe you get the guy with the grenade in there.
Imagine being out in Shoreline, right? And it's like, you spawn in, you run a little bit, and you're getting shot at. But you're like out in the open in the woods. There's nothing for you to do, and you're behind the one tree, and you're like, all you can do is do the ring around the rosy around the tree, you know, but which involves you knowing where they are, which involves you looking, which involves you peeking your head out for them to just click. But imagine being able to like thoom, 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 and just put a wall of smoke down, and it's like, at least now I can just fucking retreat, right? And that's like, that would be an awesome fight if all of a sudden I was shooting somebody, they smoked and then got away. I'd be like, shit, where did they go?
Because
you know,
this kind of goes back to like, it goes back to a like adjacent conversation with time to kill, where it's like, maybe not time to kill isn't
it's
inherently exactly. Maybe that's not inherently the only problem, but it's fight time. And that would like, it resets fight, and it resets fights on maps that you feel like you can't reset fights on, like Shoreline, like Woods. If you're caught on the open with one tree as your hard cover, you're just dead. If you peek left, they're going to shoot you. If you peek right, his buddy's going to shoot you. But being able to just like right at the ground, let it billow, and then run, it would extend the time of fights. And then maybe you can still get that one tap if you know what I mean? So maybe that's a part of it. Exactly. It's not inherently time to kill, but it's fight time. But once again, it's utility. Somebody in the chat said, imagine flares. Imagine on like night woods, and you hear Sturman, and you just like, and it just like lights up the lumberyard, and you pull your NVGs off. Like a guy like Smoke would make the best escape from Tarkov content ever with something like that. Just lighting up the lumberyard. Like, oh my God. And it feels.
And imagine if like, then imagine the other people's perspective, where all of a sudden you're creeping along, and it's just.
Yeah.
You look off in the distance, you're like, it's fucking on. Like,
exactly.
Running towards the flare.
Or I don't know if they make 40mm flash grenades, but it feels like that would be cool, because once again, the difference between a 40mm and a regular grenade is the explosion on impact. That's what makes it feel so good. If you're farther than the arming distance, you know what I mean? Imagine on resort, and there's
no way to aim
throwable
things, and the smoke sucked, you know, terribly.
But like, you know what I mean? And how cool would it be to like, you see a 4-man and you GL a flash in there, and they all just like lay prone because none of them can see. You know what I mean? And then you like whip out the RSAS, and you're like, oh, bunk, bunk, bunk. Like that kind of stuff. Just
Imagine on woods and you fucking plunk out a flare and they all have NVGs. So like,
dude,
like,
yes, dude.
You're like, yeah, fuck you. They don't have flashlights. Like,
it just feels like at that point it doesn't have to be 900K to be balanced. It can be 100K to be balanced. You know what I mean? Or 80K to be balanced, and it's still not worth taking out all the time. You know what I mean? Because like, it's just, but it would instantly make this game more fun. It would make fights more interesting. It would make them last longer, which is what we all need. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That would be cool. Yeah. We'll see.
Looking forward to it.
And I don't know how hard it is to code smoke. I'm sure it's pretty.
Oh, dude, you know, all the sorts of fluid particle dynamics is really easy, not CPU intensive whatsoever.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm sure
it's the reason why every video game that you've ever seen anybody pour a drink, it's just a blue disc that rises.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody ever gets fucking water right.
Have you seen like Half-Life? Have you seen the fluid dynamics in Half-Life Alyx, the VR one? Oh,
no, I mean to check it out. I'm gonna get
I
want to buy this. I want to buy the Steam or the Valve Index.
Yeah.
It's just like, I'm hoping that I can just like, I'm procrastinating because I feel like if I go on Craigslist or eBay, I might get lucky with someone who's like, bought it for my grandson, but he got hit by the ice cream truck, so it's never been used. Here's it for half off, you know. But I don't want to wait 8 fucking weeks for anything because I'll forget all about it.
Yep. Dude, in Half-Life, I've seen clips of people, because it's VR, you know, pick up a bottle of water and they shake it, and it's like unreal. It's unreal.
Ooh,
like, or turn it upside down, and it's just like the dynamics there. So yeah, so all that to be said, it's easy to complain about why didn't they implement smokes. I get it. You know what I mean? They teased. I mean, they gave us like the names of the smoke grenades they were adding like a year ago, and they're not in because I'm sure that they're waiting for Unity 2018 or 2019 or a specific time and a place where it makes sense to spend those resources and optimize. There's a lot of things, right? Like Steam Audio. People are like, well, when's that? Well, it's like, well, if you want 3 frames a second, they can do it tomorrow, but they have to optimize it. So, but it just, man, that would make the GL so cool. And then maybe you get the one guy out of every 200 raids that's got the grenade and just like, oh, it would be so cool. But
you have to be the 1 in 200 that comes across the guy. He has to hit his shot.
Yeah.
You have to be his target.
Yep.
You know, if he's only got 2 grenades, you have to be one of the first 2 of like 12 potential people to come across, and maybe he uses it on a fucking on the scav boss or something. I don't know. Yeah. All right.
Oh, that would be so fun.
That's a good idea.
So we'll see. Maybe we'll ask Nikita about that sometime. But I mean, those are the major things in 12.7. I mean, the scav AI is so weird now. So weird.
I haven't really noticed any differences.
AI scavs will wiggle at you if you're a scav, which is
what the fuck.
It's so dumb.
Oh, okay. So if I haven't done a scav run yet.
Yeah, AI scavs.
Should I do a scav run?
I mean, you should.
Why do they wiggle?
That's
what the
dumb.
fuck?
Yeah, it's dumb. It's
the same thing, the same criticism that I had when I said that they're gonna point their gun at you.
Yes.
Because it's not something that's realistic.
No.
It's like a meta game around the meta game that you have.
It's a realism thing put in only due to this fake realism we have because we're not in real realism. In a game, I'd never wiggle at a guy. I would ask them if they were friendly, but because I can't do that, I wiggle. So then they make the AI appear more real by wiggling, but that's not something I'd ever do.
We developed a Turing test to figure out if it's AI or not, right? And it is. And now the first thing all the robots say is, I am not a robot. And
exactly.
You're like, oh,
wait.
Fuck. Why would you tell me that you weren't a... Imagine somebody walking up to you and be like, I am not a robot in real life. You'd be like, you're fucking insane, bud.
Yeah. So other than that, I mean, there was all the stuff about them being able to pick up guns and stuff like that. I haven't seen a single AI scav with 2 guns. They're more mobile for sure. Sometimes you'll just catch them sprinting. They're not sprinting at anything, or they're not like actually aggroed on anyone. They're just like running as fast as they can, and then they stop, and you're just like, what?
But that just gave me chills for some reason.
I haven't noticed
the idea of seeing a scav running like for no reason.
Dude.
that's some like Westworld level shit where you're like,
Yeah.
one of them's gonna turn to you and be like, "Help me get out of here."
Yeah, exactly. Do you know about the
Help me
maze?
get out of here. It's fucking hell in
Do you
this
know
game.
about the maze? Oh my.
Oh my god. He just cuts his head off. Help me! Like, oh shit, I'm gonna have a nightmare, dude. Holy shit.
I mean, I'm sure they do pick up 2 guns because it was in the patch notes. I just haven't seen it. They'll wiggle at you. They're more mobile and stuff like that. But I haven't seen. It's not crazy. It's just some slightly different stuff. So,
All right. Well, I'll do a scav run first thing after this and see if I can. I only ever scav on factory, which is usually just like a really compressed microcosm of you'll instantly see 1 player scav and 4 AI scavs and 1 player in like 4 seconds.
Yep.
So
Yep. And then if you're me, you die within that 4-second period and then go back and do another PMC raid.
I need to do like some science to figure out like what are the chances that if somebody points a gun at you, that you should like that it's that you should shoot them back. It's actually given like game theory. It's basically like a chicken, which you should pretty much just hold the accelerator pedal down and left click every time.
Every time, yeah.
Unfortunately, because what do you get? What do you get if you don't kill them? Nothing. You've just now established they're an AI, and if you want anything from them, you have to kill them.
Yep.
So you might as well just kill them.
Yep. It would be cool if they aimed their gun at you or they ran at you and then you didn't shoot them. If they were an AI scav, they dropped something that wasn't in their inventory, so you couldn't just kill them and take it. It was like if you pass the test,
like they gave you their wallet.
Yeah, something, and then every 900th one is a wallet with a key card in it, or like a stack of 50,000 rubles, or a labs key card, or something like that. Like that would be cool.
That is hands down the greatest fucking idea.
Because then there's a reason
I've ever heard
to wait to take the test. Yeah, that'd be cool. And it would you could almost like make it they would drop anything that can spawn in a scav backpack because they can spawn a bunch of rare stuff, but you would just have to make it not something that was currently in their backpack, or else you would just kill them and take it.
Yeah.
And it's something.
Holy fuck! It's like the equivalent of like, if you like held them hostage with a gun to their forehead, they like you don't want to just kill them because they know where the map is.
Yeah.
Where's the map buried? Like it's under the thing, and then then you can I guess off them. But then people are just gonna. Oh,
yeah, that's true.
Think about all the times that they just drop the thing and then they're just like pop anyway because I also want your.
That's true.
VSS.
That's true.
But then, I mean, that's where the karma system comes in, and eventually, it should be based on your karma level. Yeah.
Or what if before that system comes in, if a scab drops you something and you kill them within a certain window, it's just you're tagged in curse. It's just like, oh, all the scabs are just coming for you now.
We heard about what you did, you piece of shit. You're permanently.
Yeah.
Make it so that like
just the rest of that raid, you're tagged and cursed.
No. Permanently
on your account, your scab is always
wanted, dead or alive. USEC with this lizard face, and by dead or alive, I mean we want him fucking dead.
Oh man! But with the karma system, that really could be a pretty sick way to like incentivize less scab on scab violence. A reason.
Can you imagine that? You just like you point a gun at them, or they point a gun at you, and you wait, and all of a sudden it's like. It's just like poop out a fucking. They just like it's like when someone drops you an item. There's no like handing you a thing. It's just you see the guy like this.
Yeah,
he's in his
just like
inventory, and you just see like. You just see like a wallet go out of his forehead, and you're just like, "Thanks, man."
What if he dropped you like there's like Easter eggs. Like what if he dropped you like a vodka, and if you drank it in front of him, he would drink one too, and then take you to like a Jaeger stash. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you, like, share this moment with me.
Jägermeister.
Yeah, like, like, he'll take you to, like, some special loot or something. Like, that would be fun.
That would be sick, and I just had an idea that I'm going to say out loud right now, but I think I don't know anything about, like, copyright or patent law, but I'm pretty sure by saying this and by saying no one's allowed to use it, that I'm covered. So, I'll just end up making an entire video series where I'm a player scav, and I will like look at somebody, point my gun, they'll pass the test, I'll drop them something, then they'll go to pick it up and just in the head, and it's like, no, the test was a test and you failed.
Oh my gosh. Just get real meta with it.
Yeah.
But
and then if they add me and send me mean things, then they failed like
that's
Charlie in the Chocolate
test.
Factory. But if they then send me a message and say something nice, then Charlie passed because he dropped the gobstopper in front of me, and then he gets to fly in the glass elevator.
That's what we all
or
want.
whatever.
That's what we all want.
Yeah, except he'll be shredded to ribbons or whatever the fuck Grandpa said, and that's all I can think about every time I see that is someone getting shredded to ribbons, or whatever. By the, what did he say? Shred? You'll be shredded to bits.
I don't know.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen the
just making
movie in a
sure.
long time, but yeah.
I actually recently saw the movie again as an adult, and the last time I'd seen it, I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I think I probably just didn't pay. I was probably picking my nose playing Pokemon during like most of it that wasn't in the Chocolate Factory.
Yep.
Because this time around, I was like, why are 20 of them live in one room and there's 3 old people in a bed together? Like, what the fuck is going on
What's
here?
happening in this
It doesn't-
world?
I still don't know. I still don't have an explanation. Like, what the fuck? Why are they all sleeping in bed? Like, they're all the same, like some sort of sick old people,
That's
poor
weird.
people. I mean, maybe that's what poverty was like in 1917 or whatever the fuck. It's just so weird that it was just like, are they all sick? Like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
They're all just sitting in gowns doing nothing. It's like, what is this fucking family? It's so different.
I saw a video that was a theory that the movie Snowpiercer was a sequel to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, like hundreds of years in the future. I don't know if you saw that movie. It was like
No, I've seen
he was like half joking, and then he was half like, no, but it fits. It was funny.
That's horrifying.
It is horrifying. It was, yeah, interesting.
All right. Well, I know what I'm doing tonight after stream.
No, you're watching Dark, bro. I'm telling you, if you like time travel and your brain
Is it on
exploding,
Netflix?
it is all 3 seasons.
I just got done watching. Is it called? No, it's not called Heroes. It's called The Boys.
Oh yeah, the Amazon one,
Yeah, the Amazon one where they're all
like
like
terrible
superheroes,
people.
but they're fucked.
Yeah, it was.
They're
It
like
was an
fuck
interesting
superheroes.
concept. Yeah,
I thought it was really good.
Yeah,
After
I
the
liked
first
it.
episode, I was like, because I'm not big into superhero shit.
yeah.
Like ever since the fucking Spider-Man with I almost just said with Peter Parker. I feel like we've had this conversation
that's the
before
one.
already. You know, with Toby, I almost said Keith, but
Tobey Maguire.
Toby Keith. You know, when the
That was
country
my
singer Toby
favorite
Keith
Spider-Man.
Spoderman. Yeah, so that was like the last one.
Yeah.
Actually, maybe Iron Man
Yeah,
was like the last one, and I just don't fucking care for any of that stuff. So
Yeah.
my friend is like, oh, it's like superheroes. I'm like, fucking yawn. Like, I don't
Yeah.
care. But after that, it was like, this is a really good fucking
it was a
story,
very,
so.
it definitely turned all of that stuff up on its head, and it was interesting. The second season's coming out soon, I think.
Yeah, I'm excited.
And while you wait, Dark is the perfect show for you.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
Yeah.
There was one other thing I wanted to mention
Yeah.
for coming up soon. I don't know when, but for anybody who has ever watched The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, either you played it as a kid or now maybe more modern day you watch like speed runs of it. I've been subbed to one of my favorite streamers, Danny B 21892, I think is his username. I think I got the numbers right. He's currently the world record holder for any percent completion of Ocarina of Time, which any percent is basically like do whatever the fuck you want, break it as much as you want,
Just get to the end.
just get to the end. And the world record is 7 minutes and 34
That's
seconds.
unreal.
And it's like you're at the credits and there's some wacky crazy shit. so like I said, I've been subbed to him for like 2 years or something on Twitch. I was watching him the other day, and because I've been really interested in getting into speedrunning. It's some game, I don't know what. Tarkov is kind of like an impossible worst candidate for everything having to do with speedrunning, but I would like to pick his brain as somebody who's been in the community, speedrun a bunch of games, to see if there's like something there. Maybe it's like doing custom challenges that someone like me creates offline mode with a level 1 character that's never done a raid. Like maybe that's the only way to control it, because it's offline. Loading times don't matter. Your skills don't affect it. There's so many things that I want to talk about, but I want to get him on the podcast. I asked him, and he said that he'd be totally down anytime. So
that'd be sick.
Look forward to that, because I mean, I would love. I've been a fan of his forever, and he doesn't get the recognition he deserves. He's got the fucking world record.
That's insane. That's
so
insane.
Hopefully, I don't know if it'll be next week or what, but but I want to get him on soon and just talk about all things speedrunning, talk about if that could work with Tarkov, and then also about what it would be like to potentially get into speedrunning as a total virgin to it. So
is there like there's like a game that you want to try, like we talking about Tarkov and stuff like that, but like is there like a game that you want to try? And
nothing that exists yet. Because what I don't want to do is I don't want to jump in to like Ocarina of Time speedruns, because it's fucking 20 years of people speedrunning it, all the history and the glitches. I wouldn't even be remotely competitive. I am actually really interested in developing, like from scratch, a community and also strats. So like some people saw me playing Hardspace Shipbreaker, which is like a dismantling in 0G in space, and scrapping like ships. It's in beta right now, and I played it a bunch at PAX, and really cool devs. And I'm like, I wonder if that's a good candidate. I don't want to get into it now, because I'm sure a game in beta, you don't want to like set up the leaderboards, have 20 people set a record, and then like the game changes and like level 1 is not level 1 anymore. It's like, well, how does that work? These are all questions I want to ask him. But I want a game to come out that has nothing, and I want to be like, how can I fuck this game up? Get to the credits. Like, I want to try to develop some strats, and I think it'd be really cool exercise and be cool to start a community. I just don't know. How the best way to start.
It is interesting stuff. It's been cool. I've been watching Deadly work through like the Dark Souls games, and once he's done, like he finished Dark Souls 1 and then watched the speed run. Like after he finished the game, and then he like
fucking depressing.
Oh my god, it's insane. And then he's about to finish Dark Souls 3. And then like one of my really good friends loves the Dark Souls 3 stuff, or like the Dark Souls speed runs and stuff. And
people beat that shit.
It's insane
without getting hit. Some people have beat Dark Souls blindfolded. Like fuck off,
dude. There was a guy who did the whole Soulsborne. He did Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3 and Bloodborne without getting hit. If he hit, he had to start back at Dark Souls 1. And he did it. It was insane. It was insane. I don't know how, but stuff like that is cool, because like I like what you're saying, not just trying to like jump in and speed run, Mario 64. It's like I want to be on the cutting edge of like, oh my god, I figured out you could glitch through this wall. Where do I end up? You know what I mean? And like being a part of it.
I want to feel like I am on like the edge of discovering something new, right? Like imagine someone was like, biology is a new thing. Here are cells. That's all we know. It's like, oh shit, there you go, but like I don't want to get into that now, because I'm a little late to the party. But I would love to, even though I know I wouldn't be the fastest in the world or the best or whatever, just being like one of the ones to like the grandfathers of a fucking community of speedrunners for a game, to be like, I remember when we discovered the door glitch where you flip through and the game crashes, and Amazon Prime sends you a fucking package with a SSD drive.
Imagine
some error in the fucking
I feel like there's not as intense of like Easter eggs in games as there used to be. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, or maybe just nobody's finding them.
There's a good series. Last thing I'll say is there's a good series that I've been watching right now. I don't know if it's IGN or whoever. It's usually they're big companies like that are shitty when it comes to speedrunning stuff, because they like report it and they never actually properly fucking credit the people who are like the content creators. But there is a devs watch speed runs.
Oh, interesting.
One of the 3 lead devs of Doom Eternal watching the speed run of Doom Eternal, where they're like, he's running and then like 4 seconds in, he like turns, looks down, and he's 600 feet in the air zooming through. And they're like, no, like, what have you done to our game? And you just see him clipping through, and you see them, they're talking about like, we got to put messages in the sky, like, congratulations,
oh my gosh,
you discovered the thing. That would be so cool. Like,
yep.
Part of me wants to also, with Danny's perspective, maybe build a game that's built specifically for speedrunning and maybe put some Easter eggs in it. You know, I don't know. There's just so much interesting shit that I don't know if you guys are interested. You'll have to let me know if that's something you think would be a cool discussion. A little bit of a break from Tarkov. You know,
that would be so interesting. It makes me wonder, like, because yeah, you just can't catch all that stuff. Like even on a big AAA game like Doom Eternal, like it's just crazy. It makes me wonder if there's anything like that in Tarkov. Like, yeah, we know that you can like boost up onto certain places, but is there any like I look down, I look up, I turn, and I'm like, just like 300 feet in the air.
I guarantee there's, one more thing. You know, there's that one room in that building where there's like a scav dead, but there's like a bureau in the way.
Yeah.
So all you can see. I was thinking about fucking Super Mario 64. I was like backing up and like trying to jump, like thinking about like you could probably fucking clip through, and there's probably like a case just full of like Bitcoin or something in there. But I wouldn't really get out. I'd be stuck, and there's probably ways to fuck that up.
Yeah.
Really badly. But Tarkov being Tarkov, it's not like you can't just reset a save state. Everything has a fucking cost. I guess you can go offline mode, but the time it takes to run to one particular area and try something for a while, and then you want to reproduce it, and it's like, well, there's gonna be 17 hours of
basically
running back, reloading.
I remember in Skyrim there were like, because all the like traders, anybody that like you can buy stuff, their inventory was just in a chest underground. And like there were certain traders that you could like finagle your way to a place and like reach it and then just get in the chest, and they weren't locked because they were underground, and you could just yoink stuff from them and then like rest for 24 hours, and then they would restock their stock, like stuff like that. Like if they ever
sell the stolen shit back,
exactly. I used to do that.
Sell it back to them. You'd be like, oh, I've never seen more. Oh, you haven't, huh? This one of a kind thing.
But like, imagine if like Peacekeeper is physicalized in Tarkov. Like, where's his inventory? I know it's here somewhere. And like, you find it, and you're just like taking it.
Peacekeeper's just sitting outside of Kiba next to the cash register. And you walk in and you grab shit off the thing in your backpack and you pay, but you can only take what you can take. You can't do that thing where you have like 19 bags of groceries on each arm. You do the one trip in that I do because I'm lazy.
Yep.
You can't do that with, Packas.
Nope. Dude, that would be fun. But that's cool though. Like that's a cool thing to like want to try to get into. It'll just be interesting to see what kind of games come out in the next little bit that make it feels like everything these days is in early access, so that makes it hard to jump on a game unless you're jumping on something kind of AAA or something,
Early access I'd be interested in as long as I had a really close communication with the developers. Because that would make it much easier, because then I could ask about things, or I could get feedback about things, or
You can't really speedrun Kerbal Space Program, could you?
Yes, you can. There are already records. Like
because KSP 2 is coming, right?
Well, that's on my fucking list. Next summer. But there's there's a moon and back speed run, and it's like 45 seconds in career mode or something, where they just like put something together. The best part, I never thought about it, is normally you think about you need a lander to get on the moon, right? But they just have like a solid cylinder of just rockets, and they just turn backwards and just slowly come in, and then tap, and they just take the lander. You just have the rocket, as long as you don't come too
the
fast,
moon.
the moon and back, and it's like fucking genius.
That's so great.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to maybe doing some stuff like that, making some speedrun science for a new game. We'll see.
That's cool. That's dope. Yeah, well, I'm definitely excited to get Danny B. I haven't really dove into that world too much, so I'm would love to just hear what that's like. And yeah, and the what it's like to be a world record holder of anything. That just seems pretty insane. That's insane. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's it. Do you have anything else Tarkov, non-Tarkov related?
Nope.
Cool. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to dive in to more Tarkov and just get some fun 12.7 shenanigans. And oh my god, good luck on the guide. Just thinking about the guide gives me like,
Fuck, I forgot that's what I was doing.
It just hurts me so much, and I hope that you get through it. So you start with labs?
Yeah.
Yeah. We had a 3-day long discussion about starting with labs or not. You know what I mean? Because
if labs is like a coin flip
yeah,
of whether I'm going to get a cheater or not and just insta fucking die. And every other map is like an 80% chance. You want the 50-50 to be at the beginning.
Yes. If every map is free, that's just like a black and white answer, right? But if I keep dying in the extract of Shoreline like I did for 3 days, like I did labs first, like 4 to 6 of my runs, of my like 30 runs. And I was like, chat, yes, if all maps are free, this is a very black and white, get that out of the way first. But I would have spent 4 million rubles that would have meant nothing. You know what I mean? Because I had to do it 60 times. Not really 60, but you know what I mean? I just kept, so it was hard to balance. Like if you one time it labs first every day, and it definitely made my life a living hell. I did labs last on the time that I did. And so we were like,
well, imagine how hard it is to get through all the maps, and then now you have no fucking control. It's 100%. Whether or not.
It really was. It really was. It was 5 of us. We squatted in. We ran all the way to the sewers, and we just waited the 10 minutes. I'm not too big to admit what I did. We just waited 10 minutes, bro. Somebody dropped me all their stuff. I picked it up for some loot XP, and I got out of there, dude. I hate it, man. Bro, the last wipe, I did it legit with my buddy. We went for kills. We were like going for scav kills. You couldn't just wait 10 minutes before. Like, you know what I mean? That's a new mechanic. I've done it legit. I was so done after 3 days. So
that's acceptable.
Good luck to you. But yeah.
Thanks, buddy.
So thank you guys so much for coming out. I really enjoyed the Tarkov discussion. 12.7 is sick. It'll be cool to start talking about maybe some other games or some other content creators get featured on here. So hope you guys are excited for that. If it's your first time around, we do this as a weekly podcast. And on Monday-ish, the video goes live on my YouTube channel, and the audio goes live on Spotify, Google Podcasts, all that kind of stuff. And then we might put out some clips as well. But thank you all so much for hanging out, and we'll definitely catch you all in the next one.
Peace.